It's that time of the month again, or I'd like to say it is. I was a little busy the past week or so, but I've still avoided spoilers. So if you'd like to experience this brand new chapter of Boruto to Blue Vortex with me, then sit right back and relax, because it's time to experience this chapter of Boruto fresh. Welcome to the Amagi. Before we begin, only 25% of our viewers are subscribed, so if you're a fan of the video, please like and double check if you are subscribed. And with that out of the way, let's get into the video. The chapter starts off showing Shikamaru meeting with the Konoha Council, Koharu Utatane and Homura Mitokado, who are somehow still alive and not dead of old age. I mean, for real, how old would they be right now? Gotta be close to a century, right? Anyway, the council questions why Boruto would return to the village after they've been hunting him, trying to kill him. Shikamaru says he's unsure, but that it's certain that they only defeated Code because of Boruto's help. Regardless, the Konoha Council informs Shikamaru that Boruto must still be eliminated, and that the honor of Konoha entirely is at stake. With the attempt on Kawaki's life and the next fiscal budget being dictated, the daimyo seems to be considering whether having a hidden village is worth it at all anymore, and is considering closing down Konoha. As Shikamaru leaves, however, he's stopped by Koharu, who tells him that 3 years have passed since he was appointed as Hokage, and that it's time for him to officially accept the position of 8th, because his dilly-dallying is only making the village look worse in front of not only the daimyo, but other hidden villages. So Shikamaru technically isn't Hokage, and is only interim Hokage. His face must not even be up on the rock yet. I gotta give a little credit to Shikamaru. He isn't using this to take Naruto's position. He respects his friend, and somehow must believe that Naruto isn't dead. Anyway, Shikamaru hears this but ignores the point, stating that he'll report back soon. As he unwinds in the office of the Hokage, Shikamaru lights up a cigarette and takes a puff. It's then that the door is knocked on and Ino walks in, making a special delivery. He thanks her. She asks him why he would want the mission log from all those years ago, and Shikamaru tells her it was just curiosity and thanks her once again. She leaves the room. As she leaves, she begins speaking to Shikamaru through telepathy. She asks him if the mission logs were just an excuse to talk with her, and he admits that it was. He says he doesn't want the council, the sensory unit, or Ada being able to listen to this conversation, and that nobody else should know but her. She says that this all depends on the content of the conversation. He tells her that this is a strict don't ask, don't tell situation, and that if she can't accept that, then they're done talking. She begrudgingly agrees. It then moves to Kawaki and Ada. Kawaki is surprised to hear that the Ten Tails have gained personalities. Ada tells him that it's odd. They're learning and evolving on their own and becoming something they normally wouldn't. Kawaki would ask about Code, wondering how this could be if he were still controlling them. She tells Kawaki that they're simply out of Code's league at this point, and that the poor boy's done scampered off somewhere to lick his wounds. She says that's what's troubling now, however, isn't that they just want to eat Boruto and Kawaki, but that they have new targets too, and that one of those targets is Naruto. She also admits that they're after her as well. Kawaki asks what they could be after and why they want Naruto so badly. Ada says she can't tell that just yet. Kawaki pushes it to the side, saying that it doesn't matter. He's got control of Naruto, and that means he's safe. If the Claw Grimes, or whatever they are now, do come looking for him, he will just kill him. It's then that Damon speaks up. He asks Kawaki about the situation, saying that the only people who now know that Naruto is still alive are Boruto and Sasuke, but if the Claw Grimes come knocking, wouldn't everyone eventually figure out that he lied? Damon then partially waves this off by saying that he doesn't really care, as it doesn't matter to him what happens to Kawaki, as much as his sister cares. She tells Damon not to say such things to Kawaki, but Kawaki simply gets up and leaves. She asks Kawaki where he's going, and he says he just wants to be alone, and if she really wants to know what he's doing, she can just spy on him with her Senrigan. As he steps out of the house though, he sees Mitsuki waiting there. Kawaki tells Mitsuki that he's annoying, and Mitsuki would tell Kawaki that it's his job to protect him and Ada, and if he has an issue with it, he should bring the matter up with Shikamaru again. Kawaki just sneers and tells him he can't blame it on Shikamaru, and that the truth is that Mitsuki is doing this for himself. We then pan over to Boruto, Sarada, and Sumire. They're just sitting in the park together. Sarada is becoming increasingly flustered, cause I guess she's just suddenly into Boruto now for being a bad boy. Sarada agonizes over how she just attacked him with a hug, and now she wants to talk to him about it but is scared, not knowing how to start the conversation. Sumire, always coming in clutch, knows this and decides to break the ice, saying Boruto looks good for someone who's been on the run for 3 years. Boruto thanks her and returns the gesture. Boruto turns back and tells Sarada he's glad that she's safe and that he didn't expect her to jump at him like that. She asks if he can really blame her and says that she's been worried sick. Boruto acknowledges this. Sumire asks if he should remain here much longer, and Boruto says that he's erased his chakra signature and shouldn't be detectable by the sensory unit, but that Kawaki could detect him at any time. But at the same time, he can't leave until he tells them the truth. He begins to tell her that Sasuke was absorbed by the Ten Tails. At this moment, in the distance, Kawaki suddenly senses Boruto's presence, and Mitsuki deploys a snake. Sarada asks if that means Sasuke has turned into a tree, and Boruto confirms. Sumire asks Boruto what's up with that, asking why they're absorbing regular people when they're supposed to eat Otsutsuki. Boruto tells her that Ten Tailses instinctively devour any and all chakra before turning into a divine tree by eating an Otsutsuki. He says this is how it was supposed to go, but for whatever reason they've already started evolving into divine trees. At this moment, Mitsuki contacts the Intel Division and they patch him into Shikamaru, who asks him what's going on. Mitsuki informs Shikamaru that Boruto is detected to the south and asks that he please have Ada pinpoint his location. We then see that Mitsuki has knocked out Kawaki. He says that he will go because Boruto, now like Kawaki, can erase his chakra signature and would be able to detect Kawaki right away. Mitsuki asks Shikamaru to hurry before Boruto gets away. Sarada asks about the evolving divine tree and asks how it's possible. Boruto states that it's likely due to Code. Code possesses a karma seal, and though he's not a full Otsutsuki, his karma does possess a pure clump of Otsutsuki essence, which has likely had some effect on the Ten Tails. Sumire questions this. Suddenly, Boruto receives a transmission from what I assume is Ino. No, wait, it's Shikamaru. He's just using Ino as a vector. He tells Boruto to keep it quiet and only answer him within his head. He tells Boruto that the sensory unit is not involved and that Ino is connecting them on a private line that won't be logged. The girls around Boruto begin to ask why he's spaced out. Boruto says he heard Shikamaru became Hokage and asks him if he really should be talking to him like this. Shikamaru tells him that he's only interim Hokage and the title Lord 8th is only out of convenience. When Boruto questions if he should trust Shikamaru, Shikamaru tells him to stuff it and listen. He needs to get out of there because he's soon going to have company. No sooner had the words left Shikamaru's mouth, or brain, did Mitsuki's snake appear. Boruto would use this moment to escape by throwing his sword and then using the flying Raijin Jutsu to teleport to it. Landing, he turns around and sees Mitsuki, who tells him that he's been waiting for this moment. Sarada tells Mitsuki to hold on, but Mitsuki denies her, telling her that he doesn't know what lies he's fed her, but that she needs to get out of the way because he can't control his strength. He would then send out his snakes to attack Boruto, who would then coat his sword in purple lightning. Hold up. Now I thought this was Kakashi's jutsu. Is Kakashi training Boruto too? Or are we just gonna say purple lightning is just the technique of somebody who has lightning style and decides not to use Chidori? Anyway, Boruto would cut away the snakes and leap into the air to avoid Mitsuki's striking Shadow Snake Assault jutsu. As the snakes rise up, Boruto continues to move higher, revealing that he can fly now. Sarada and Sumire look up at him in awe. Boruto promises to help save everyone, including Master Sasuke, from being trees, before fleeing via flight. He goes to say something else, but then he doesn't, simply saying never mind, he'll be back later. As Boruto escapes, Sarada and Sumire watch, and Mitsuki glares. Boruto chides Shikamaru, telling him that if he really wanted to talk, he could have done so without getting them interrupted like that. Shikamaru says that the entire village is out to get Boruto, the entire land of fire is, and that it would have been too fishy for the Hokage to stop Mitsuki. Boruto accuses him of just looking out for himself. He asks what he's planning. He says that he can help Boruto in many ways because he's Hokage and that he, in return, wants help from Boruto. Boruto quickly shoots him down, but Shikamaru tells him to hear him out. He says, "Boruto Uzumaki is your real name, isn't it?" Shikamaru says that he apologizes. Even though he's using that name, he can't bring himself to completely believe it yet. He says that, to be honest, he didn't think too much about the possibility that his memories were altered, but he says it makes too much sense when they flip Boruto and Kawaki's positions. He asks Boruto to tell him the truth. Boruto says that he should be well beyond Kawaki's sensory range and asks just how far Ino's jutsu can go. Shikamaru says about 100 kilometers. Boruto says that's all well and good, but that he's sorry he's about to hang up. He's got a loose end to tie up. We see a snake around his belt and then see that Mitsuki has tracked him down. Boruto apologizes and tells Mitsuki that he's sorry, but that he's about to get a little rough with him. And that is where the chapter ends. All in all, it was a pretty good chapter, with enough exposition to tell us what the series is doing, as well as a nice bit of combat to tide us through the chapter. And while not too much was revealed in this chapter, there was still enough stuff mentioned. So let's take a look. First thing to talk about is the Konoha Council. Those two old birds are still alive, and that's a pretty big thing. They've gotta be in their 90s at least. And while I know that characters live for long periods of time in the Naruto series, it is true that Mito Uzumaki died of old age while Kushina was younger, and Mito wasn't that much older. I mean, we could say that she was probably 20 to 30 years older than the council at that time. This means that they would have probably been at around the same age that she died when Naruto Part 1 was still going, at least toward the end of Part 2. I mean, look at Onoki. He was so old in Boruto, and he's not that much older than they are. And while I know that everyone ages differently, it should be known that they outlived Mito Uzumaki's age, and Mito was an Uzumaki who are known for living insanely long periods of time. I mean, maybe my math is off, but it's surprising to see them still alive. I mean, even they were beginning to realize the end was near in Shippuden when Danzo died. They mentioned how sad it was that they were the only ones of that generation left, but I digress. What's even more impressive is that they're still even members of the council at all. I would have thought that Kakashi, or at least Naruto, would have shelved them a long time ago. I mean, after the reveal of what happened to the Uchiha and knowing that the council was involved, I would expect them not to exist anymore. Naruto had Sasuke become his supporting shadow. To think that Sasuke would willingly work with them. Maybe Sasuke really did let go of his hate and embraced Hashirama's will of fire at the end of Shippuden, but frankly, it astounds me that they're even still around. Next thing we should talk about is Kawaki and his lie. We see Kawaki with Ada and Damon just can't help but remind Kawaki that the lie that he's been living for the past 2 or so years is about to come crashing down in a big way, and it's true. We can already see it in the manga beginning to take place, first with Amato, then finally with Shikamaru. Kawaki's lie isn't going to last much longer, but the thing was his reaction to that information. His reaction to that information was to storm off and demand to be alone. This insinuates that Kawaki is a bit more frustrated by this knowledge than one would expect. But why? I know his purpose is to protect Naruto and Hinata by extension, but why is he so frustrated about this when he essentially told Boruto that he was willing to be killed after this anyway? Is it simply because he hasn't killed Code and destroyed the Ten Tails yet? Is it because his goals remain unfinished? Or is it possible that Kawaki is growing attached to the Uzumaki name? We know that Omnipotence granted Kawaki his wish, which was to switch places with Boruto. But more than just to get away, he could have wished that they simply forgot his existence. No, he wished to take Boruto's place and become Kawaki Uzumaki. He wants to be Naruto's son. So chances are his actions and frustrations about his lie being discovered has little to do with the Otsutsuki threat, but more about the disappointment in remembering that he's not Naruto's son, and that soon everyone will know that too. That's why I think he's so frustrated. Also, something I wanted to mention right quick is Shikamaru's status and the current state of the village. I have some respect for Shikamaru. Not that I didn't have any before, I'm still sore about Konohamaru not being Hokage, but I get it, because Shikamaru was Naruto's right-hand man. What I love about him though is even though everyone believes Naruto to be dead, Shikamaru still won't take the position, which means one of two things, and both are good for his character. Number 1, he might believe that Naruto is somehow still alive or will return, or number 2, he believes Naruto is dead but refuses to take the job out of respect for his dead friend. I like that about Shikamaru. I also admire that he's helping out Boruto from the shadows, as he too is slowly starting to shake out of omnipotence. But as for the state of the village, the council seems to think that the village could be shut down. This somewhat blows my mind, but honestly, it's easy to forget that Konoha depends upon the daimyo and the funds from the Land of Fire. Like, I know it's still true, but I just can't see Konoha being under anyone's thumb. After all, if I'm correct, it seems like the village was formed before the state was unified, which would make Konoha a country all to itself. But I guess the Land of Fire is in charge, and apparently the daimyo has the ability to shut down the village. Next up on the list of things to talk about is how the Ten Tails was affected by the Karma Seal. Boruto theorizes that the reason why the Ten Tails gained sentience is because of it turning into a god tree. He theorized that the Karma Seal Code has is affecting it, but I don't believe so. I mean, maybe the claw marks, but not the karma. Code isn't even fully an Otsutsuki, but the likes of Momoshiki and Kaguya and anyone else who've used one is. And their Ten Tails didn't start evolving until after eating an Otsutsuki, so how does this work? After this, we need to talk about Boruto's usage of Purple Lightning, which is a Kakashi exclusive move. Kakashi has been absent from part 2 of Boruto for a while now and without mention, so we have no clue what's going on. Does he still believe Boruto is Naruto's son? Maybe Koji and Sasuke convinced him. It's a move Kakashi developed on his own, so for the idea that Boruto just happened to make the same move and name it the same thing seems preposterous. I believe Boruto is training with Kakashi as well. And finally, we're going to talk about Mitsuki and his attack on Boruto. While it's unwise to ever underestimate Orochimaru and his progeny, one must admit that he's becoming stronger than Orochimaru has ever thought about becoming. He is capable of not only a Sage transformation, but Sage mode as well, which only increases his strength. But the fact that he could so easily knock out Kawaki is amazing. I mean, yeah, Kawaki wasn't paying attention, but the fact that it worked against someone as strong as him with Otsutsuki powers and DNA astonishes me. It puts Mitsuki on the upper echelons of power, close to the top. With his techniques, raw strength, and the wit he inherited from his father, Orochimaru, Mitsuki has become one of the more powerful warriors in the entire Naruto world, and I can only imagine where he's going to go from here. But what did you think of the chapter? Did you like it? Let me know in the comments and tell me which part was your favorite. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the bell to be notified when our newest videos drop. Until then, peace.